What's up, guys? Dr. Mo here, digital nomad physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. My apartment in the background, and well, a really gorgeous view for me, looking out my window, my huge windows. So I got a great question from Mr. Santiago, one of the commenters from a recent video I uploaded. And the question was, I speak Spanish is my first language, and I'm thinking about going to Santiago de Compostela. Do you recommend it? And I guess his plan is to come here for 30 days. And obviously, I believe he's a US resident, so he's going to get, well, he's a US citizen probably, but he's going to get a 90-day visa automatically, right? So as soon as he lands, he's going to be able to come to the Schengen area and travel all around, but he wants to come visit Santiago de Compostela. And his question was, do you recommend it? Do you recommend me come into Santiago de Compostela? And maybe a little bit about what is Santiago de Compostela like, and when is the best time to visit. So in general, the way I think about traveling and visiting any new place is this a place that I could see myself staying long-term? I'm a long-term traveler. If it's just for visiting a place, I might have some destination in mind. Maybe there's an amazing rock climbing gym or outdoor rock climbing area, or perhaps I'm really fascinated by a certain culture and I want to get to know that. And so for that reason, I'd want to go visit. Santiago de Compostela is a small city, 80 or 90,000. If you're not familiar with this small European city, it's probably something very unique. You're not going to find an 80 or 90,000 population city in the US that's going to match anything like it is here, because there's great infrastructure. And it's a college town. So Santiago de Compostela is the northwest part in the Galician region. You don't need to speak Gallego. It is just a language that is spoken here. If you speak Spanish, everybody here will switch immediately to Castellano. So that's not difficult. The only stuff is sometimes the hacer instead of hacer, and then that's like the Castellano versus maybe Spanish from other parts of the world. And the other thing is they speak super fast. But if Spanish is your first language, you're going to have zero problems. I know this from everybody who's come visited here. As far as diversity, there is not a lot of diversity in this city. So you will find people who are gay and they'll openly hold hands and stuff. You'll see an occasional African-American person. You'll see a few Asians, African-American. You'll see a few black people, a few Asians. Not a lot of Middle Eastern, really. But a good diversity of men and women, obviously. That's because it's a college town. And yeah, that's kind of the concept here. It's a college town, right? So there's a medical school, a pharmacy school, a veterinary school. There's lots of language schools. There's a lot of like cheap cafes and bars. And at nights, everything gets packed. Thursday nights is the night or the time when all the kids go party. So they stay out super late until 5 or 6 a.m. In fact, right out front of my street. Let me see if I can show you guys. All right, maybe not right now. There's a bunch of people who were looking up at me, and I didn't want to point a camera at them and shock them. Yeah, that's kind of like Thursday night is kind of the party night. And then Friday is a little bit maybe older crowd, like 20-some-year-olds, maybe 30-year-olds. And then Saturday night is kind of like the 30, 40-year-old crowd that go party. And they're out till about, 3, 4 a.m. Pretty commonly. The clubs stay open till about 5 a.m. The bars stay open till about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. sometimes. And then restaurants stay open somewhere between midnight to 1 a.m. Because dinner is really late here. So if you come here, and let's say you don't have a car, what kind of things could you do? The city is small. You can walk from one end of the city to the other end probably in an hour and a half, right? You can do a lot of sightseeing. You can go hiking. There's a lot of trails nearby. The whole thing is just so green. You can get a beautiful apartment in the city center and enjoy the partying. You can go and see all the different museums that are here. And you can certainly go sit at the bars and restaurants and chat anybody up, and that's perfectly fine. But also, if you're a foodie, you could eat incredible bread. The bread here is well known. They have seafood that's really popular here. The food in the restaurants, as my girlfriend says, it's very much the same thing over and over. It's like, rasho con patatas, or patacas, as they say in Gallego. And then there is pulpo, and tortilla española, which is called tortilla here. Then you got your cafe and have some tea and stuff like that. But the mercado Abastos, is beautiful because there are like just a ton of vendors coming out and selling, so you can try a bunch of different cheeses. Oh my God, the cheeses here are insanely good, and yeah, really good. Salchichas and stuff like that. So anyway, like if you're a food person, I think that experience is great. But yeah, it's a slower town. I don't think it's like crazy like Madrid. The downtown can be, but you're going to see a lot of kind of older people, and it may not be that exciting. So that's kind of a couple of things to consider. Other than that, it's easy. You're going to get around perfectly fine. There's a good bus system here. You can go straight to the train station. The train will take you to Madrid, Barcelona. You can go down to Portugal with the bus. And that's probably the fun thing, is to just have this cool little base here where you're just comfortable, and then take day trips. Go to Vigo, go to Pontevedra, go to Ferrol, go to A Coruña, San Sebastián. Well, San Sebastián is a little far, but you could go all the way east if you wanted to. So that's a little bit about Santiago de Compostela. Hope it helps you. Luis, take care. So what about the weather, right? Santiago de Compostela, I mean, right now it is gorgeous. You can see just the sun is out, not too loud, really fresh air. And yeah, it's like 57, 58 degrees. I'm wearing a t-shirt inside the house. The windows are completely open because the sun's coming in. So it's actually, let's see, what does that say? 21 Celsius, I don't know, what is that, 70 degrees? So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely lovely weather right now in February, beginning of February, but that's not common. Usually around this time, it's probably colder, rainy, and maybe in the high 40s, low 50s. So if you're going to visit, now I like cold weather, I like rainy weather, so this is the time that I would probably go visit a place. But for a lot of people, I think spring and summer are just much more desirable. It never gets too hot around here. Most people don't have air conditioning, so you're not going to need that. But there's going to be a lot more people, chances are. Now, probably with COVID and some of the stuff that's going on, it's not going to be quite as big of an issue, but it's still nevertheless a problem. In a lot of these popular places, like even in Madrid just now that I went in Paris, it was packed, and people were saying, "Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing." Like when it gets super busy, it's like insane. So that's the timing. That's the timing situation. For me, again, I would come a little bit earlier. Like, well, you could maybe do March or April. Weather usually is beautiful between April and October. And after that, October, November, it gets a little colder. January and February are usually tough. It hasn't been for the past month that I've been here. You won't need a car, like I said, so that's kind of going back to your transportation issues. You're not going to need a lot of money. You can find an Airbnb and you can get an internet for 10 euros. You can get 10 gigabytes very easily. That's all I got. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Comment below if you want more specifics about Santiago de Compostela. I'm happy to tell you guys more about it. Take care.